Hello everyone. Hope all of you are safe at home. Of course, this is a challenging time for all of us, but still we can't take our steps back. We have to start moving at the same pace we have done so far because no matter what, all of you have to face your O-level exam this December. So I thought of doing some videos which will help you and guide you to write answers for your English literature paper. This is my first video and it's on the fiction The Vendor of Sweets by R.K. Narayan. Why I'm going to start this novel is most of the students find it difficult to write answers for this particular part in their paper. What I'm going to do is I will discuss one question per video, and while the video is played you can pause certain parts and point them down, which will help you to have a better understanding about writing this answer. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel by pressing the bell icon below. And of course, feel free to comment below if you have any questions regarding this video and what you think of this video. The question we are going to discuss today is, both Jagan and Mali are responsible for the conflict between them. Discuss. So before starting to write this answer, you have to find keywords or phrases in this question. So students, what do you think? The word both is very important. Then the phrase responsible for the conflict is also significant. In your answer, you have to address both these things. First, you can write the introductory lines, but remember that you should not write lengthy details about the writer or his other work. It's advisable that you directly hop into the answer referring to the question. For an example, you can say the novel Vendor of Sweets is written by a renowned Indian writer R.K. Narayan. In that novel, both Jagan, the father, and Mali, who is a son, are responsible for the conflict between them. Then you can move on to produce facts which can prove your point. The main reason we can point out for their conflict and distance is lack of communication. When you go through the novel, there are many instances where you witness this communication gap. One reason why they cannot understand each other is because they don't talk heart to heart with each other. It is because of this lack of communication that the cousin becomes the mediator between this father and son. I think you will be able to find many examples where you can talk about this. One example is when cousin questions Jagan about Mali and Jagan lies to cousin because he doesn't want to reveal to the cousin that they haven't talked with each other for nearly 3 months. I think you can remember this part. And another place is where Narayan says that the only communication between this father and son is through the 5 rupee note tucked under a plate. So from these instances, we can understand how far their relationship is or how distanced their relationship is. This eventually caused the conflict, and both these characters do not make an effort to have a real communication. So we can agree that both are responsible for the conflict. Okay, now we can move on to the second fact. These two individuals belong to two different worlds, or in other words, they represent different mindsets and perceptions and cultures. Jagan, as you know, belongs to the traditional, orthodox, patriotic, religious Indian culture, whereas Mali represents modernity and westernized young generation. The differences between their respective ideologies can be seen in their dress, marriage, choice of profession, and in many more situations. When we talk about dress, Jagan wears a dhoti over a jibba, where Mali wears shirt, trousers, socks, and shoes. And then when we talk about their choice of profession also, it reveals their differences of thought. Jagan is a traditional sweet vendor, but Mali wants to engage in a new inventive profession, starting up a business to sell story writing machines. Their different ideals lead them towards conflict because Jagan doesn't believe in Mali's new business ideas and refuses to invest in it. In these instances, we can see that both these characters do not try to come to a middle path where both of them can agree with each other. They stubbornly stick to their perspectives and beliefs. This difference of traditionality and modernity also fuels up the conflict between this father and son. Okay, the third fact I'm going to discuss mainly focuses on Jagan and how his overindulgence and cowardly nature paved the way for Mali's downfall and conflict between them. You know that Jagan is a father who does not like to offend his son. Actually, this is one of the key points which mold Mali into whom he is at present. I think you can remember the place where Kasin suggests Jagan to talk with Mali about Mali's plans, and Jagan's face had started sweating. This proves how much Jagan is afraid to confront his son. Another example is when Mali says that he wants to stop going to school. Jagan allows him to do that without any serious oppositions. He just weakly asks if other boys are harassing Mali, which Mali vehemently refuses. The same thing happens when Mali asks Jagan to engage a cook, or otherwise he would eat from the college canteen. If Jagan acted as a strong father figure, the distance would not have occurred with this much of a gravity. And if we want to move further on this fact, there is another example, which is when Mali steals money from the place where Jagan hides it, Jagan defends him rather than trying to talk with him face to face. So here we can see that Jagan is specially responsible for the way Mali behaves and for the conflict between them. The fourth point to be discussed focuses on Mali. Here I'm going to discuss about his disrespect and lack of concern about his father, culture, and religion. When we move on with the novel, we can understand that Mali has no concern at all about his father or traditional Hindu culture. This behavior has led to a conflict between him and his father. When we live in a society, you know that there are certain norms that we come across. We might not agree with all of them, but still we should respect them. But we don't see Mali doing that. He has no respect whatsoever about his father and religion. I will discuss some places which you can use to prove this point. You might be able to remember that after Mali's departure to America, he sends a letter to Jagan mentioning that he has started eating beef. And also he suggests that all the Indians should start doing that, which will eventually solve the cattle problem in the Indian streets. This information is a deadly blow to Jagan's religious beliefs and he is shattered. This example shows Mali's disrespect towards Indian culture and tradition, which causes conflict between Mali and Jagan. Another instance is where Mali brings a woman home without any prior notice. Grace is a Korean American, and this union is also conflicting with the traditional way of life which Jagan believes in. Here also we can see that Mali has no concern about the situation of his father and also about his culture. Marriage is a very religious aspect in Indian culture, as you know, but Mali has no regard about these beliefs. This behavior of Mali has caused conflict between Jagan and Mali. Now I will move on to the last fact I'm going to discuss in this video on this question, that is Ambika's death. As you all know, Ambika is Mali's mother, and when Mali was at a very young age, Ambika passed away due to a brain tumor. Mali had witnessed how his father, Jagan, had not allowed Ambika to take aspirin because it is a Western medicine. He had the idea that nature cure or herbal cure is the best. When Mali sees this behavior of Jagan, he had started to loathe both his father and herbal cure. We can say that this is the root cause of Mali's aversion towards traditionality and the conflict between father and son. Then you can move on to write the concluding paragraph of your answer. Before that, I must tell you that these are only some guidelines which you can use to write your answer. You may have some more facts and more creative ideas. Please comment them below. And a very important thing you have to remember is that you get only 30 minutes to write your answer. So please be very concerned about time management. Now, in conclusion, you can summarize the facts that you have pointed out and then connect those facts with the question. For an example, we can say, so in conclusion, we can see that because of these facts, here you have to point out those facts, both Jagan and Mali are responsible for the conflict between them. And that would be the end of your answer. So I hope that this video would be helpful to you. We will meet in the next video. If you have any suggestions or questions that you need me to analyze, please comment them below. Have a nice day.